The word relations is just talking about how X and Y are related to each other. So in the real world, we might have distance and time instead of X and Y, or we might have the cost uh, and the profit. And if you think about it, as the distance goes up, if you're traveling, as the distance goes up, the time will go up. As the cost goes up, the profit will go up, hopefully. And by the same token, when you think about what we've done with the X's and Y's, whenever we choose a value for X, Y is going to change. So X and Y are related to each other. Okay, and that's reflected in the ordered pairs when we choose those and when we graph them. So a set of ordered pairs is called a relation. And we have two sets of ordered pairs. Now the set notation, we have our little squiggly lines here with our ordered pairs inside. So we have these two sets, A and B, and we know we always have X and Y values. Well, the domain is all of the possible X values, and the range is all possible Y values. So if we look at A and B above, we can see, okay, find the domain and the range of the relations A and B above. We can see that for A, the domain, we just look at all of our X values to find the domain, all possible X values. So the domain is going to be the set. Okay, we have -1, 2, 7, and 8. Okay, there's the domain for A. And the range, all possible Y values, and range is kind of easy to remember that it's the Y values because Y is the rise and Y is the range. Okay, so all possible Y values for A will be 1, 3. The next one is also 3, so we already have 3 written down. Then we'll write 6. There's our range. Okay, for B, okay, our domain is going to be 0, all of our possible Y values, remember, and then or X values, I mean, for the domain, it's the X values. Okay, and then 1, 0 is already written down, and then the last one is 7. Okay, B for the range. Will be, okay, -2. And then we have 5 and then 3. If we write them in order, 3 and then 5. That's a nicer way to write them, but you'd be correct as long as you got them all in there. And then 7. There's our range. Okay, so for a function, the word function, we're talking about how these things function. Okay, so a function defined is that each X value has exactly one Y value. Or an easier way to think about it is that the X values can't be repeated in a relation, but the Y values can. So if we're going to determine whether the relations A and B above are functions, and we can talk about why, well, A Okay, when we look at A, okay, there's A. And we're thinking, okay, the x values cannot be repeated. So when we look at A, if we look at our x values, we've got a -1, a 2, a 7, and an 8. None of those x values are repeated, so we can say for A, yes, it is a function. And then for B, we'll look to see if the x, and notice too in A that let's see, we've got, yes, for the y values, we've got those 3's are repeated. They can be repeated. It's just the x's that can't be repeated. So then when we look at B, we say, okay, x values can't be repeated. We've got 0, 1, 0, whoops, right there. Those zeros are repeated, so no. B is not a function.